Breaking news from the United Kingdom. A statement just released by Buckingham Palace. This is how it reads. Following further evaluation this morning, the Queen's doctors are concerned for Her Majesty's health and have recommended she remain under medical supervision.
CNN has just learned that Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall have traveled to be with the Queen at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. I want to get now to Max Foster. He is in London with the very latest. Max, some information has been coming in here. What can you tell us?
Well, I think we just have to look at the language. The palace didn't have to put out statements from Balmoral. It's a very private estate, but they felt the need to do so. They're normally very private about the Queen's medical condition. They see it as a private matter, but when there are major updates, they do let us know. And what they've told us is that the doctors are concerned, and that's very, very strong language from the palace. You wouldn't normally hear anything like that. You wouldn't even hear any reference to the doctors, frankly. And she remains under medical supervision, so she's at the castle. No suggestion she's been taken to hospital, so medical experts will have to read into what that means. If someone's concerned, if the doctors are very concerned about her health, but she's under supervision, not being taken to hospital. I don't know what that means, but there's some concern about that. She does remain comfortable, though, we're told, at Balmoral. The other optic here is that the Prime Minister is tweeting about it, so addressing the issue rather than trying to keep it private. It's also been announced that Prince of Wales, the Queen's heir, is travelling immediately to Balmoral in Scotland, and he is dropping all his plans. We are also, of course, trying to... Well, I've just checked in with Kensington Palace to see what Prince William's movements are, because obviously he's been informed. We're told all the family, key family, have been informed, but Prince William will also, I'm sure, be expected to visit as well.
Max, remind us of the Queen's activities over the last week, where she was seen and not seen, and what concerns have arisen over the last few days about her health.
Well, she always goes to Scotland, to Balmoral in the summer, and she always comes to Buckingham Palace to appoint a new Prime Minister. And the concern recently was that she announced that she would not be returning from Balmoral to appoint the Prime Minister, so the outgoing and incoming Prime Ministers had to travel all the way to Balmoral to have the audience with the Queen. She looked very frail, but she is 96 years old and she was standing, so I wasn't too concerned about what I saw there. I did get concerned last night when I got a message to say there was a meeting of the Privy Council, which is this ancient institution, very fundamental to the British Constitution. There was a meeting that the Queen was due to chair by Zoom from Balmoral, and that was a very important meeting because it was swearing in Liz Truss as the Prime Minister, but also into the Privy Council. It makes some core decisions, and the Prime Minister needs to be on that council. That meeting was cancelled, so we were now in a situation where a major constitutional event was cancelled even via Zoom. We didn't get any more updates after that, but there was lots of rumours this morning about the Queen. Often happens. I did start getting concerned when I started hearing rumours of a fall at Balmoral, but I'm told that those rumours of a fall are not to be believed. I've just had a message as we're speaking from Kensington Palace saying the Duke of Cambridge is travelling to Balmoral. So we've got the Duke of Cambridge, Prince William and Prince Charles both travelling immediately, cancelling everything to Balmoral. Let's just put this into context. The story today about Prince William was his kids' first day at school. So he's dropped his kids off at school and he's headed straight up to Balmoral. So it's a very concerning situation.
The sense is, and from that photo yesterday where we saw her meeting with Liz Truss, she appeared happy. She does have some assistance with the cane, but at one point appeared to actually be lifting it there in one of those photos. The sense then, even though you're saying, your sources are saying, no, don't believe that there was a fall, but there seems to be perhaps some sort of sense that something took a turn, obviously, between that moment and now.
It does feel like that, and it's interesting, isn't it, that they addressed it. There wasn't a fall. I mean, the suggestion is it's more serious, I think. It's a very worrying situation for the nation. I have to say, I've just had a moment to glance across all of the British TV networks, and they're all in rolling coverage. And what I would say, when there's been these scares before, we get a subtle nudge from the palace to calm things down, and we do, because that's an indication that it's not serious. what the palace is doing is allowing this massive rolling story to develop, which is worrying in itself.
Yeah, let's just be transparent about what is happening and what is different this time. We have now been told that the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Cambridge, so 3 generations now, going to Balmoral Castle to be with the Queen and Scotland. And in the case of William, he was breaking plans to be with his child on the first day of school. So you have the family rushing to be with the Queen, and we have a statement, Max, from the Prime Minister's office. This is all language that we have not heard before. This is all a process we have not seen before concerning the health of the 96-year-old Queen. So that is why, as you say, you've looked around and you see all the British media in rolling coverage right now. That's why you're looking around and seeing concerned faces where you are in London. This is, and we don't know what's going to happen. This could be an issue of not being able to fulfill duties. This could be a simple scare and things get better. But this is, as of now, something that we have not seen before, Max.
No, and let's look at the best case scenario here. It is that the Queen may be unable to carry out those duties because she's 96 years old. She's exhausted from the meetings. You have to get ready for these prime ministerial moments, particularly when the photographers are in. She's tired and she may not be able to carry out some of the basic duties. So I think what would happen in that situation is that she would appoint her councillors of state. They are primarily Prince William and Prince Charles, and she would appoint them and issue letters patent, they're called, legal notices to give them particular duties, perhaps carving them up. So someone deals with Parliament, someone deals with prime ministers, and you act on my behalf. So that might be something that's happening here. It could be something much more broad, which is what we would call a regency, which is where the Queen delegates all of her powers, effectively, to Prince Charles. But that's quite a complex process. There's a committee that oversees that, and it has to be agreed. Has that been done already? I'm not quite sure. But we're told the Queen is comfortable, so no indication that it's more serious than that. But there's something serious going on here. And my worry about the health is just the language of the statement, the fact that her 2 immediate heirs, as you say, John, are heading up to Balmoral. We don't know the state of the Queen's health, frankly. We've only been told she has mobility issues. What is the underlying cause of that mobility issue? That's something we may be told one day, but we were never told it about Prince Philip, for example. So we may never know the underlying cause of her illness, but she was 96 years old and standing the other day, as you say. So she's in rude health, considering her age.
Yes, but she is 96 years old, as you say. I do want to bring in Dr. Sanjay Gupta to the conversation. Obviously, Sanjay, we have limited information here, but it is unusual, as Max is telling us, for the palace to say that the Queen's doctors are concerned, but they have recommended she remain under medical supervision. Knowing her age, knowing some of the health issues, at least vaguely, that she has dealt with here recently, what would she potentially remain under supervision for? What are the realm of possibilities at her age?
It's a pretty long list, and it somewhat is dependent on, there's a bit of a judgment call here as well, Brianna. This is the Queen. She's 96, so if someone had any indication of a cardiovascular, heart, lung sort of problem, that would certainly warrant it. And that's usually the sort of thing that would, trigger something like this. But, it sort of it depends a little bit on how the judgment of the physicians here. The way that I read the statement, following further evaluation, first of all, that was the first line of the statement. So that sort of meant that there was a little bit of a crescendo to this. They've been evaluating, now they're further evaluating. In the beginning, they thought, hey, it's a little concerning, but not enough to trigger this sort of statement. Upon further evaluation, though, there is now concern. So what changed between the more initial evaluations and then this added evaluation? Again, we don't know, and it is speculative at this point. As Max was saying, it doesn't sound like there was some sort of specific event, like a fall or trauma or something, but so that really at this age, you have to think about things related to blood vessels, the heart, those sorts of things. I don't even want to speculate on all those things because it just puts it out there and we don't know. I will say this, that it's interesting that they released this statement, and at the same time, we know in the past when she has gone to the hospital even if they didn't give details about what the hospital visit was all about, they did tell you that she was going to the hospital. That's not the case here, it seems, at least from what I'm hearing from Max. And I think that's an important point. I don't know exactly what that means, but at least at this point, it seems that the doctors have said, whatever this is, we feel like we can best address it still, or at least adequately address it without going to the hospital. My guess is, she has facilities that are quite extensive that are available to her without going to the hospital, but there are certain things, more intensive care that you would need in a hospital, and things that assist with breathing, things that assist with maintaining your blood pressure, heart rate, and things like that. So whether they're not doing that because she doesn't need it, whether they're not doing that because they're choosing not to do that, we don't know. But these are the sorts of conversations that I imagine are happening right now among medical professionals.